Wellness means forgiving your mind, honoring your body, and living your most authentic life while understanding that you are not of this world. This is a journey, one that I am honored to be on with you. Welcome to my channel.
Today we are going to be talking about hormones. Today we are going to be talking about 3 specific hormones, and we're going to be talking about cortisol, ghrelin, and leptin, which are all very exciting and very health-conscious hormones to have in mind. So we are going to jump into the most common one, which is cortisol, known as the stress hormone. Cortisol is made in your adrenal glands, and the purpose of cortisol is to regulate your brain function, your metabolism, your inflammation, and your blood sugar. So it is really responsible for your adrenal functions in general. And we're talking about cortisol mostly because of its high stress relation, because high levels of cortisol usually equal high stress, which means that your body is physically stressed, not just a very mental thing. And high levels of cortisol can lead to weight gain and can lead to acne, bruising, muscle fatigue, difficulty concentrating, high blood pressure, headaches, and irritability, mood swings, everything to do with your basic stress. So, cortisol is a really important hormone to get a hold of and to manage right away. We can always go into more detail in other videos about how to manage any of these hormones today, but your generic ways to lower cortisol are to manage your stress and to learn how to mentally handle your stress and your awareness of how you deal with stress. Another great, other than managing stress, you can also get an adequate amount of sleep. Lack of sleep can cause a lot of high cortisol levels. Exercise regularly. Exercise is really good at releasing those neurotransmitters that are really good for not being stressed. So definitely exercise more. Otherwise, it's eat a healthy diet. There are certain foods per se that are better at managing cortisol than others. We can always go into them in another video. Other than supplements as well to help you manage your stress and your cortisol. The most popular and most fairly decent is ashwagandha for supplements right now. And ashwagandha is really good at lowering your cortisol levels and helping manage stress, which is why it's also promoted for a healthy sleep. So both would help you in that situation. And then just the last one is just medication. Like if your cortisol levels are so beyond you, definitely consult with your doctor and find something that'll help you manage your cortisol levels, because it's really hard to, function when you have that much stress going on in your body, and it can all be leading to one hormone or many that are out of control. This hormone, ghrelin, is known as the hunger hormone. And this hormone is produced in your gut, and it tells your brain that you are hungry. It is also responsible for helping store fat, another indication that you are hungry. So, ghrelin. High levels of ghrelin are literally just your extreme hunger cues. So, if you are experiencing high amounts of ghrelin, it's usually because you are under eating or because you are on a diet. Usually. So, usually this is a very natural hormone. However, usually when people start on different diets or they start restricting their food, ghrelin will go extra high and it'll alert your body that something is wrong. This is a normal response. However, it is ghrelin that is responsible for it. So, ways to lower your ghrelin response, pretty standard. It is definitely make sure that you are eating a proper amount of food and that you are not restricting beyond your metabolic function. Like make sure that you are taking in all the calories that you need for the day. And I am not a doctor, so I am not allowed to recommend any type of diet or calories or numbers, but definitely if your ghrelin is out of control and you are constantly hungry, it is definitely something to be aware of, is how much food you are actually consuming. The other is get a good sleep. Good sleep is very important for many hormones and many body functions. So get a good sleep. Eating protein, eating a lot of protein is another great one for ghrelin because it keeps you satiated longer. Protein does. And it'll also, tell your body and give those cues to your brain like you're good. So eating more protein is definitely a good one. But it's not everything. So definitely if you're having a problem with hunger and hunger pains, definitely consult with a doctor. Otherwise, I just listed the most natural ways. Leptin is known as your fullness hormone. So it is responsible for your body feeling full, good, you don't need any more food. Now, this hormone is produced by your fat cells, and they do tell your brain if you are or are not hungry. Now, high levels of leptin can cause what's known as leptin resistance. And leptin resistance is when your body and your brain are not on the same page with your hunger cues. So you're probably not getting the cues that you're not hungry. And we see this a lot with people who are medically obese because their leptin cues do not work very well. They tend to keep eating because they do not have a very high functioning leptin cycle or system that tells their brain, hey, we're full. Their brain and their gut are not on the same page. So you usually see that, but there are other ways people can be leptin resistant that isn't just medically obese. So, ways we can lower our leptin. The first one, surprise, surprise, is sleep. Proper sleep is very important for all body functions. So of course it is for this one as well. The next one is to exercise regularly, kind of like the others, but this one is kind of more towards obviously getting healthier and boosting those positive neurotransmitters and all of the benefits that working out gives your body. And by doing that, you are also connecting your mind and your body, which are really important because high leptin levels are disconnecting that for you, which are not a good thing. The next is to eat anti-inflammatory foods. Again, just really good for circulation and your body, so you're getting the proper micronutrients that are signaling your brain with the proper messages so that you can get back into that connection. So staying away from sugary drinks and trans fats would be the next way to lower your leptin cycles. Because they do drive your leptin higher and they aren't helping your brain figure out if you're actually hungry or not. So those would be things to avoid as well. On the supplement side of things, you could take fish oil or ALA, which is alpha lipic acid. Both of these are really good for your body and for your blood circulation, and then they have high levels of antioxidants. So it is really important that if you are somebody who feels like this might be something that you deal with and that your body deals with, that those might help. However, I am not a doctor, and I recommend that if you do have problems with your leptin or you feel like you do, definitely speak with a doctor because it's definitely probably beyond what you can do, maybe very medical. But if you are looking for something to try or something to help, these are my suggestions. Thank you for joining me today on my quick 3 hormones that I think are important to talk about. In my next video, I will be talking about estrogen and testosterone and what high levels and low levels of those look like for both genders. So feel free to check that out if you are interested. Thank you for joining me.